if anyone's listening to this and they're kind of on the edge of doing something like this, like a seasonal job, 120% do it.
Hello everyone and welcome back to CheapRVLiving. My name is Brian. I'm going to be your host today, and today we have the special privilege of speaking to someone who has worked in a seasonal position for the summer, and this is my niece, Hannah.
Hello.
So we're going to chat with you guys about her summer job, and we're just going to get right into it. Let's go. So what first inspired you to seek out this seasonal job?
Well, I've always known that I wanted to go out west and kind of step out of my comfort zone. I wasn't able to do the freshman year of college thing and like get out and meet new people. And I've always thought that going somewhere kind of like out of my comfort zone and like meeting people that are more similar to me would be really a lot of fun. So I found a friend that she moved to Montana and she worked at a ranch 2 or 3 summers ago. And I ended up reaching out to her and asking how she did it. And she really inspired me and showed me that like you don't have to do it with someone. You kind of can go off and do your own thing and kind of get like a restart or like a pause on your real life and do that cool seasonal summer work. So yeah, that was kind of like the motivation behind it.
Okay. And so now, did you go out there with someone else?
I did end up going out there with someone else. I originally was planning on doing it on my own. And that was kind of the goal, was to force myself to step out of my comfort zone and do it up by myself. But last second, I brought it up with one of my friends at college, and she was like, "This sounds awesome. I want to do this with you." And so last second, she kind of joined in, and it ended up being perfect. I'm really glad she ended up coming.
So you recruited her. That's excellent.
Yes, yeah.
And so tell us about the place that you ended up working at.
So I worked at an all-inclusive type of ranch resort called the Resort at Paws Up.
Okay.
It was kind of near Missoula, Montana.
Gotcha.
It was a high-end, they call it a Forbes 4-star resort. It was a high-end, like, luxury ranch resort where it wasn't exactly, like I will say, it wasn't exactly what I was looking for originally, but it ended up being the perfect fit for me. It was a lot of horseback riding there for all the guests. There was whitewater rafting, fly fishing, all of that. It was really cool. It was on 50,000 acres. Like,
wow, that's huge.
Yeah, lots of land. Kind of, I felt like it was the perfect spot because it was kind of in the middle of nowhere, but not too far out where like I could still make an easy drive into Missoula and be like back in the comfort of like a town or like a small city.
So how did you find this specific job?
So I found this job through coolworks.com. I had done lots of research on plenty of different ranch resort and seasonal jobs, and the most enticing ones that I found were through CoolWorks, like the most organized, the coolest jobs, the ones that included housing or included food. Yeah, CoolWorks was like the place to go.
And I've also, like, I haven't done it myself, but I know a lot of people that have done the CoolWorks, and it seems like a really great website. So you got the job in Montana, you get there. What was the situation as far as housing? What was that like?
Okay, so housing was different with Paws Up than a lot of the other jobs that I looked at. A lot of the jobs I looked at, you would be living like on property in kind of a dorm style living. And typically it was included. But with my job, we had, our resort had bought out 2 motels in the closest town near them. And we were living in motel rooms for the summer, which was really interesting. When we first got there, it was a little scary. We got there and we were like, I don't know about this, but it ended up being perfect. There was 2 on each side of town, which is deceiving because town is about a minute through.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, small town.
Yeah. Right. So you could like walk from one to the other, and it was a lot of like young people. That was really cool. A lot of young people working there and like living right next to you. But you still had a little bit of space and not like the actual dorm style living.
Oh no, that sounds really cool. And how long of a drive was it up to the ranch?
To the resort, it was about 20 minutes, I think, on the dot.
Okay, so your commute was about 20 minutes. Now, having done it for the summer, would you recommend doing that again that way, or would you like to live like maybe closer or go to a place with included room and board? What was your thoughts in the end?
It's really hard because I wouldn't trade my past summer for anything.
Okay.
I applied to tons of jobs, and I'm so glad that the one I got worked out.
Okay.
But I would definitely consider like trying new things out. I think like you can, there's nothing wrong with like doing a different thing every summer. Like if I would have done this my freshman year of college, I would have done something different every single summer just so I can experience everything.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I would say like any of the jobs that I was looking at would have probably been the perfect fit for me.
Okay. No, that's totally fair. You know, and there are pros and cons to each position, so really you can't go wrong with either. Okay. So tell me about some of your coworkers. Have you, I guess, what was the age range of coworkers? Okay. Yeah.
Paws Up was funny. It, like I said, it was a luxury resort, but all of my coworkers were probably between the ages of 18 and 25.
Okay.
So it was a lot of young people. Even a lot of the management was young.
Okay.
I know one of my managers was like 22 years old, so only a year older than me.
Okay.
So it was a lot of young people. There were like different departments were a little bit different. I know we had transportation. We had a little bit of an older crowd there.
Okay.
But it was overall like looking around the resort and looking at my coworkers, the majority were like within like the 20, maybe 25 range.
Okay, gotcha. And then your position was what?
I was a front desk agent. So I was in charge of checking all the guests in and then taking care of all their needs while on property. So I would place food orders for them. I'd tell housekeeping when they needed to come and like schedule out all of that stuff. And then I would check them out and I would deal with all their billing.
Okay, gotcha. Now, what were some of the other positions that someone could apply for? So you were at the front desk. What else was there? Yeah,
so some of them were really cool. They had a lot of whitewater rafting guides, fly fishing guides, horseback riding guides. All the guided stuff would definitely be a lot of fun. And I kind of do regret not doing something like that.
Okay.
I just, at the time, I felt I didn't have the experience for it. Okay. But I think in reality, they would have trained you enough where for any of those positions that you would have been okay.
Okay.
But yeah, they had a lot of the guided, like adventure type stuff.
Cool. Yeah.
My friend that I moved out there with, she was just a host and server.
Okay.
So she just worked in the restaurant, and she said that was a lot of fun. Transportation, I also felt like would have been a lot of fun. They did. They used the big vans, and they would drive to and from the airport.
Oh, okay.
And that actually sounds kind of boring, but you're always seeing like the beautiful views, and like the highway that went to and from Missoula was always so pretty, right in a valley and on a river.
Okay.
So,
and again, remind me how far Missoula was from the ranch.
So Missoula from the ranch was about, I know the trip to the airport was about 45 minutes.
45 minutes. Okay.
So
gotcha.
Like 35 to 45 minutes. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Oh, that does sound like kind of fun though. So, okay, so those are some of the other jobs. Now, as far as pay, I know the minimum wage in Montana is probably lower. I think I looked at it at one point. What was like a typical pay rate for someone working at your resort?
Yeah, so for my position, I want to say I started off, okay, so they do it weird.
Okay.
You get a starting pay of like $12 an hour, but then after your first 2 weeks, they give you a bonus pay. Which that would range for each position.
Okay.
So in the end, once you included the bonus pay, I started off at about $16 an hour, and I ended around 19 or 20.
Oh, no kidding. Wow, that's great. So were you able to, now you had to pay for your room and board?
Yes.
Okay. And so after everything was said and done, were you able to save money during the summer?
I was. I kind of
There's a question mark there. Okay,
yeah,
continue.
I kind of chose not to. I decided that like this was the last summer that I had the chance to really explore, and I wanted to not be too frugal with my money.
Gotcha.
So I spent a lot on horseback riding, whitewater rafting.
Adventuring,
yes. So I spent a lot just because I wanted to get the full experience. Whereas if you are looking to save money, I 100% believe I could have saved up a lot.
Okay.
And a lot of the activities out there you can do without spending money too. I
Okay.
just chose not to.
Gotcha. Yeah, I'm sure like hiking you can do for
Yes.
cheaper and things like that, backpacking even. But the horseback riding, things like that would
Yeah.
cost more. But that's great that you took advantage of the situation.
Yeah.
And, you know, because you're this beautiful place, that totally makes sense. So that's awesome. Incredible for you.
Yeah.
Okay, so now tell me about, so we've talked about where you lived a little bit. What kind of other adventures did you do? So what kind of exploring? I've seen photos, but I want you to tell me again about them.
Oh my gosh. So I'll just kind of go like in steps. So at the beginning of summer, we're from Michigan, so we're not really sure what it's like out there. We had heard lots of rumors about like grizzly bears and all that. So for a while, we were a little sketched out doing the hiking like on our own.
Okay,
Two
yep.
little like Michigan girls like going out on like 7-8 mile hikes on our own. We were a little stressed out, but so at the beginning of summer, I felt like we did a lot of shorter hikes or walks, and then we'd go to like little lakes around us.
Nice.
In the Sealy Lake area.
Okay.
But as summer progressed, we started to get to know the locals and like people who were working at the resort that lived in the area.
Okay.
And we kind of figured out how to do it right. So we did a lot of hiking. That was probably after the first month we started to do a lot of hiking. We would drive up to Glacier National Park.
How far of a drive is that?
Man, I can't remember. I want to say it was 2.5 hours.
Okay.
2.5, maybe 3.
Okay. So it was a weekend trip probably.
It was a weekend trip, but we would do it in a day. Like we did it a lot where we would go early in the morning and get there before you needed to have the passes, like the daily passes.
Oh, the reservation. Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yosemite had that as well this summer.
Yep.
Okay.
So we would try to get there before then. I can't remember what time it was. And then we'd come back that same night.
Okay.
Or we'd just sleep in our car. And
sleep.
cash out in the Walmart parking lot.
Yeah. Hey, that happens. So now, did you tell me about some of the people you met? So did you make good connections for the summer? Tell me about that.
Yeah. So I met the most amazing people.
Okay.
So many amazing people. A lot of them were Montana locals that ended up working at Paws Up. They went to University of Montana, which was in Missoula. That was the majority of the people I met. And then I also met a few people that were doing the same thing that I was doing, where it was a seasonal job.
Okay.
And those were the people that I kind of lived near.
Gotcha.
They were all amazing people. Everyone kind of had the same interests as me, which was cool. We would go on like big group hikes. We would go to the lake together. We talked about like renting a boat for a while and like doing all that fun stuff. So it was really, really cool meeting so many people that kind of have the same interests as you.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the best things about those seasonal jobs is you meet different people from different walks of life. But at the same point, you have that commonality that you can talk to them about.
Yep.
So someone, let's say I'm looking for a job in the summer. What advice do you have for someone that is looking for this kind of job? Like what would I look for? How would I go about it? Any piece of advice?
I've already talked about Cool Works. They're, I think, the best.
Okay.
Depending on what you're looking for, what I really regret, like, I wish I would have made like a spreadsheet kind of, because I knew that I wanted to work in either Montana, Colorado, Wyoming, or Utah. Okay. And I just kind of I would just find jobs and apply and like everywhere. I wish I would have made a spreadsheet and done it by state and kind of like checked off the ones as I went. And then I kind of had like which ones I've responded, because I probably applied to like 70 jobs.
Oh, wow.
And I heard back from a lot, but they'd get lost in emails and they would all of that would happen. So
maybe just be more organized.
Yeah, like make sure that you kind of figure out your tops and then like which state you want to go to, because I know like some people, I don't know. That would be my organization is the biggest thing.
That totally makes sense. So, and when did you start applying?
So that was the other thing. I think I did it way too early. I did it, I want to say November of last year, so just about a year ago, which was for a job in May of 2021. So it was pretty early, and I think that my application got lost a lot because I was applying so early. So I've talked to a few people that want to do this, and my best recommendation would be probably to start in January.
Okay.
Even maybe February, because that's when they're starting to be like, okay, we've got a plan for summer. Like, who are we bringing out here?
Okay.
So that would be my best recommendation, start applying in January or February.
January.
The biggest thing I'll say is that if anyone's listening to this and they're kind of on the edge of doing something like this, like a seasonal job, 120% do it. I know a week before I left, I almost bailed out. I was very nervous. I have like a long-term boyfriend at home. I had all my friends, and I really was nervous about it.
Yeah,
but
for sure.
I am so glad it was a life-changing experience. Even if you know you can only do it once, like just do it. And that first week might be tough, but get through it.
You know, that is excellent advice, because I've worked with people where they're like, you know what? It's a finite amount of time. It's only 3 or 4 months of your life. You can do anything for those 3 or 4 months. But the experience can just be so invaluable.
Yes.
So, I love it. So, well, Hannah, thank you so much for taking the time today. We all appreciate it. For all of you out there listening, we hope that you enjoyed today's video. What kind of seasonal jobs have you guys had out there? What are your thoughts? Do you think that you would like to do a seasonal job? Please let us know in the comments below. And go ahead and subscribe to our channel. Give us that big thumbs up for us. And until next time, so long, and see you guys down the road. All right, take 3.